First in Fresno, top 50 clubs in the world. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Fresno. I want to start on a fun note. Obviously, we do I've been recognizing those folks that and I'm going to wait to see somebody kind of sink in their chair here in just a little bit, but I love recognizing the folks when their birthday actually falls on a Rotary Day and they're actually on the call. And there is not a more perfect day for this person's birthday to be on the day of the sheriff speaking. But Mr. Steve Forker, I know it's your birthday today. We got to sing you happy birthday, and as well as Dr. Dave. I know Zeta, I think, set you up, but did she walk away already? I know it's her birthday too. But let's start out with a little fun. I mean, if everybody wants to turn off their mic real quick, let's sing happy birthday to Steve and Zeta there for joining us on a Rotary Day. So happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I don't take that
Fun,
so good
Steve.
The Mormon Tabernacle Choir, it is not.
Not by a long shot.
What works, I guess. So, hey, thank you guys for joining us again. Happy birthday to you too. Really appreciate you being a Rotarians there. Moving on, I want to give it a shout out for tickets. Anna, do you have the screen ready? Or I guess most importantly, they can send you a message. Send Anna a message and or text or email, whatever you would like. But we do have wine for raffle today. So please take advantage of that. And we will definitely be able to, like I said, that really goes to our community projects. Appreciate what you guys contribute towards that. So definitely enter the raffle here very quickly. I just got a message. Sheriff, was it your birthday this past weekend?
2 weekends ago.
2 weekends ago. Okay, I heard it was very near. So fantastic. Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to go. We've been doing the board member introductions, and I want to, Steve Canfield, you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Well, one of my pleasures is getting to know Steve a whole lot better as his service on the board. And Steve, as I'm talking here real slowly, trying to pull up your PowerPoint, would you begin with telling us a little bit about your position?
Well, right now I'm vertical, and I'm hoping to keep it that way.
That's always great. That's always great.
For work, though, I'm the Chief Financial Officer over at Fresno First Bank. And my responsibilities are pretty much kind of the back office running the bank. Oh, here comes my PowerPoint. I've been over here about 13 years and basically made my career out of community banking with some really good organizations in Fresno, starting out with Guarantee Savings, Regency Bank, Regency Bank, and Noble Credit Union before coming here. So that's my family right there. About a year and a half ago, my son Thomas left, my wife Jackie, my son-in-law Adrian, and my daughter Ashley, and then me in baseball hat on the right
there. and here's another important family member coming up.
Yep, that's Rudy, the rescue dog. We saved him from the mean streets of Bakersfield, and he was a little nervous at first, but you can see that he's mellowing out there stairs.
And I know we had I think it looks like a couple folks on this call over at the Coast, and I guess the Coast means something special to you as well.
Yeah, so we have a place over in Cayucas, and there's a couple of sunsets from our front deck. There we have a nice view all the way from the Harmony Headlands on the left there over to Morro Rock and Morro Bay.
Got it. And I guess this next slide is going to be probably the greatest joy you've had in the last many, many years, and that is?
So that's my daughter and son-in-law there announcing last year that our first grandchild was on the way, and on the right, that's Peyton Louise. And then we're wine tasting down at the bottom there. But yeah, she's a beauty, and she's about 10 months old now. Just starting to walk and making a lot of sounds. The way she vocalizes, I think she's going to be quite the talker. And
Well, great. Well, Steve, thank you so much for sharing a little bit more about yourself. Appreciate all you do for our Rotary Club and your service on the board there. It's we really appreciate what Rotarians do to really make this club what it is.
Thanks very much, Ryan. I'd like to ring the bell twice today, if I could. Once for Peyton Louise, and the other for the wheelchair project, which is part of our international service avenue, which I'm involved with this year.
I am happy to do that for you, Steve. Fantastic. Moving on now, we love when we talk about this club and what we do, and giving out money is a big part of that to very worthy organizations. Michelle Cantwell-Kalfer and Wilma Hashimoto. Are you two on?
Yes, we are.
You are going to tag team on a very important project we've just done.
Thank you for this opportunity, President Jacobson. The Rotary Club of Fresno and our foundation have a long history of supporting our local nonprofits. And today's recipient is one of those very special ones. The local court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, office exists to change the lives of our abused or neglected foster youth. The needs are even greater now in this time of COVID. Today's check presentation illuminates a unique challenge faced by CASA office and its staff and its volunteers, and that is keeping them safe while they are serving our youth. The Rotary Foundation Board is proud to present Executive Director Wilma Hashimoto with a check for $12,500 to provide special locks on the front door of the building to ensure a more safe setting for CASA staff and volunteers. And on the screen, you see the check and you see how our club will be recognized. And at this time, I'd like to invite Executive Director Wilma Hashimoto and a fellow board member to, or rather fellow member of the Rotary Club of Fresno, to say a few words.
Thank you, Michelle. And what's special about Michelle presenting this check to me is that I had the pleasure of working with her at Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. So it's funny about coming full circle. I cannot thank you enough for this check. We are located across from the courthouse. And one of the challenges has been, as court-appointed special advocates, is sometimes we need to speak up on behalf of the children and not provide and recommend not to have reunification rights with the parents. And in other words, we request parental rights would be removed. So a parent may not be very happy with that decision, walk out of the courtroom, and voila, there's our office and a very large sign across from the courthouse. So they are not very happy with us. And they can just walk into our building, and we've had that twice now. So now with your check, we are able to install a keyless system to enter the building, and also install 3 cameras in our office because community members are very generous about donating, and we store them in our training room. For instance, we had thousands of dollars of weighted blankets that we issued out to our youth to help them with their anxiety. So with the cameras, we feel safe about having that. In addition, prior to COVID, we were concerned about the safety of our advocates when they come to downtown for their training, as well as our staff. And there were absolutely no internal locks whatsoever. In other words, they come into the office and there was no place for us to go. So we're able to install internal locks as a result of your check. And we're just really excited about being able to secure our building. On top of that, we have youth that come to our office, and we want them to feel safe as well. So thank you so very much. Who would have thought security system during COVID would be important, but it is.
Bye.
I believe there is a plaque that will be installed. Anna, are you able to bring that up? It was shown earlier. It's a lovely blue plaque. It definitely recognizes the security system is being installed. Oops, it will have the security system installed by Rotary Foundation being generously donated by you. So again, thank you. Our work continues to increase as we're seeing foster youth for the first time enter our system. So thank you again for your support.
Thank you so much, Wilma, for what you do on behalf of the community there. We really do appreciate it. And this, we were excited to do this one, knowing that it was such a critical need and it was something that we could definitely help out as Rotarians with. Okay, now moving on. Thank you, Michelle, for doing that today. Appreciate it. Moving on, as you guys know, a few times here, I've had some Zoom bombs, some folks that come in. And as I thought to think about our sheriff and who would be appropriate to bring in today, well, let's just say this much. I didn't leave the family. I have my cousin Tim on today, and my cousin Tim, there's a very specific reason why I brought my cousin Tim on, and that's because he's part of the air support units for the Fresno Sheriff's Department. And so Tim, I know you're on here somewhere, right? I know he's on here somewhere. Give me 1 second. Oh, you're on mute. Oh, let me see. Oh.
How about now? You got me?
Yep, I got you.
Hello, everyone.
So this is my cousin Tim. Has been with the Sheriff's Department for a number of years. He last several years he's been on the air support unit. He's part of the crew up in the helicopter. And so Tim, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, well, I'll just give you a brief rundown of what we do here. We have our air unit supports patrol as our primary function. We have 3 helicopters and 1 fixed-wing airplane. Besides supplementing patrol, we do rescues in the mountains and the rivers, which takes up a majority of our time in the summertime. We use the fixed wing for patrol, but also for narcotic surveillance or chasing bad guys. We are staffed with 4 full-time pilots, 2 full-time observers, 2 part-time observers, and a supervisor. The aircraft we fly is our fixed wing's a Cessna 206, and our 3 helicopters, 2 of them are MD 500Es, and then we have our newest helicopter, which is a 530F, also MD. That's the one that's behind me here. That one's primarily used a lot for rescues in the mountains because it has a lot more power and has been a great asset for us. We're stationed here at the Fresno Airport. We fly 7 days a week, weather permitting. The last 2 weeks has been pretty bad with the smoke in the air, so you probably haven't seen us buzzing around the city, but normally we're 7 days a week at some point during the day or night.
And you talking about rescues, I actually did have a picture of rescues. People obviously love, I guess people kind of like it when we rescue humans, but it's kind of a big deal when you rescue pets or dogs in this case.
Seems like we get a lot more publicity that way.
Yeah, that was last summer when there was a hiker that did he pull, I don't know, pulled a muscle or what, messed his knee up or something there, but you were up in the high country, I know. The dog actually smiled for that picture. And then another really nice benefit of having a deputy as well as pilot in your family is the fact that oh, give me 1 second here. Your kids my kids get kind of spoiled. So that's my middle son, Ranger, getting to check out the helicopter there earlier this year, close to his birthday there. So he just might be the pilot of the family. He loves everything about airplanes there more than anybody there. So with that, thank you so much, Tim, for joining us. I thought it would be kind of a different experience there to get to see some of what the flight crew does over there at the Fresno Sheriff's Department. We're going to hear from our sheriff here just shortly about what's going on with the department. But for my family, for Tim, this is a big unit, and this is something that, like I said, he's getting to do on a weekly basis. That's a pretty cool job.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you for having me on, President Ryan. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good, man. See you later. Well, there you go. That's my cousin Tim, lives right down the street from me. So grew up together. We're about 11 months apart in age. And so definitely was excited to have him on here today. And with that, I'm going to move on now to my good friend, Mr. Darren Rose, who obviously also has a connection to the Sheriff's Department and might tell you a little bit about that, but he's going to introduce our speaker for the day.
Yeah, I was a reserve a long time ago. And it is my honor and privilege to introduce Margaret Mims, who's been a peace officer since January 1980. She was elected to the office of sheriff in 2006, becoming the 25th sheriff of Fresno County. She is the first female deputy sheriff to supervise, or as a sergeant, supervise field patrol units. She was the first female deputy sheriff to attain the rank of lieutenant, captain, and assistant sheriff, and the first female to be elected since the office was established in 1856. She has many, many accolades. She is a graduate of Fresno Pacific University and has a master's degree in public administration from National University. And also, interestingly enough, she is the graduate of the Senior Management Institute for Police, coordinated through Boston University and the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard. In 1999, she was chosen as Fresno County's one of Fresno County's top 10 professional and business women of the year. In 2009, she received an award for heroism and life-saving before the Fresno County Board of Supervisors and the Fresno County Council of Governments. In 2011, she was recognized for an exemplary partnership with the Department of Homeland Security. And finally, after her 2008 breast cancer diagnosis, Sheriff Mims became an outspoken advocate for early detection. And with that, it is my privilege to turn it over to Sheriff Mims.
Thank you, Darren. And I'll get right into this, and because there's a whole lot to talk about today, and I'm sure I'm going to get some questions. But Darren was there that day in Washington, D.C. when we did the CPR on the young man that basically died there in the subway system of Washington, D.C. And I'll never forget that. Darren at the bottom of the escalator, I'm at the top, and Darren waving and saying, "Sheriff, we need you." So that was a great day. And when that young man left the subway that day, his heart was beating. So that was good.
Good stuff.
Yeah. First of all, let's go ahead and hit the creek fire, because I think that's the most impending issue that we've got going on right now. It's almost 300,000 acres currently. We have lost over 1,000 structures in that fire total for Fresno and Madera County. We're very busy now trying to make plans, and I'll announce this here. This is kind of you're the first to know. We are going to start a temporary access tomorrow for people who have lost structures in that area. And that's really important for us. Our incident commander currently is Lieutenant Kathy Curtis. And she came up with a really good idea. She said the people that should be seeing that destruction first are the homeowners, the people that live there. They need a chance to go through their stuff before we open it up to full access, so other people aren't the first ones to go through. The actual homeowners are. And frankly, they need a time to grieve. They may have lost something very precious to them. So we will also have Fresno County behavioral health professionals with us as these homeowners that have lost their homes have a chance to go up there and see what's left, if anything, of their houses. So that's going to start tomorrow. We'll be putting out press information today about exactly how that's going to happen. We are also planning on the full access. And what's important for us, as long as it's safe, because remember, we've got electricity, power, trees that are down. We need to make sure it's safe for people to get up there, but we need to get them up there as soon as possible. So that, and it's hard to believe, in a couple of weeks, we're going to start having freezing weather up there. And people need to start winterizing their homes and getting them ready for the winter. So when you think about a couple of weeks ago when it was 110 degrees up in the mountains, in a couple of weeks, we are going to have some freezing weather, and homeowners need the ability to go up to their homes and get them ready. The chief of OES, Office of Emergency Services for the state for law enforcement, is going to be here today. And this kind of leads into the presidential visit. And I've gotten a lot of questions about that. And Al Smith asked a good question about how did I get invited to that meeting? Well, it really, even though it happened very quickly, I will tell you that the Monday after the fire started. It started on a Friday evening about 6 o'clock. That Monday, I was getting calls from White House, from Intergovernmental Affairs, getting an update because they knew that this was going to be bad. So this wasn't like a spur of the moment decision by the administration to come to California. They were concerned all along, which I think is great. When any of you know that in your businesses like mine, it's all about relationships. And I have relationships with people in our nation's capital, and it's paid off for us to make sure that actually for 2 presidential administrations now that we have personal contact with people that when we need something, we can reach out and ask. So I received a phone call from my contact asking me to be at this roundtable. And one thing I've learned, because I've been at them before, is that you don't get to make all your points. And so you have a packet of information in writing that you can hand to a staff member that really outlines everything you want to say and all of your asks. I truly believe you don't get if you don't ask. And so I made the ask. In fact, before the meeting with the president started that day, I met the FEMA administrators and I said, you know, one of the things we really need is a representative from FEMA in the Fresno County Emergency Operations Center. And within really less than 48 hours, we had somebody, a person came out of Alameda County and has been in our Emergency Operations Center to help us out. And when it comes to recovery, because it's not just this moment in time, we are going to have some long-term needs. Any of you that live in the mountains or have experience know when there's a bad fire like this, what you end up having is a lot of erosion when our rains start coming this fall and winter. We're going to have big problems with mudslides, erosion, just the lack of vegetation and trees. I've been up there in that area, and it really is a moonscape. That's the best way I can describe it. When you look off across the hills, when you're driving up 168, you see places where there were homes where you didn't even know homes were because it was all forested before. And now all you're seeing is foundations and chimneys and just the devastation up there in areas. And it's kind of like you see pictures of tornadoes. It's amazing that the fire would skip a house and then hit another house. There was really, Mother Nature is fickle. I will say and give credit to CAL FIRE. They were just amazing. What our main job, the sheriff's office main job in a situation like this is getting people out safely. And the work that CAL FIRE had done pre-fire by clearing out a whole lot of the dead trees up there, and then during the fire with their bulldozers, gave us time to get people out of those danger areas. And I'm pleased to say we had no loss of life in this fire. Unlike some other counties and other fires, we really worked well with CAL FIRE and still are, and making sure that people got out of there. So there are people who make a decision to stay, but there weren't very many of them. And another interesting thing is as we go along, I'll try to think of things you might find interesting. You know, there are a lot of hermits that live up in the mountains. There are a lot of people that just live off the grid and they're out there all by themselves. And we find those people. I don't think any of them came out of the woods, but we were at least able to make contact with several people that we didn't know even existed, but they live off the grid up in the mountains, and they're true hermits. I do want to take a moment to, and Ryan, you helped spearhead this to provide the meals to our Sheriff's Office personnel earlier this year. It was very much appreciated, and we were recipients of your goodwill. We really appreciate it. I heard from department members, and that was really a cool thing you did, not only to provide the meals, but to keep Pardinis going with their business, and it paid off in so many different ways. So I didn't want to neglect to talk about that. But back to the presidential visit. So I was able to ask for the FEMA assistance. I was able to to ask for long-term assistance because of some of the long-term effects that we're going to have. Yes, even though the governor called me mayor twice, what was funny about that is the president looked at me and he knew better. He looked at me and smiled, so he knew better. But the experience was pretty awesome. While I was there, the president finished our meeting and said, "Now I'm moving on to present the Distinguished Flying Cross to people from the California National Guard." And he said, "Any of you that want to stay for the ceremony, stay." And I said, "I'm staying, Mr. President, because those guards are from the Fresno area. They are local National Guard people that are going to be recipients of this." So I stayed and I watched that ceremony, and it was just awesome when he talked about how they flew into that Mammoth Pool area and saved people who their only resource to get away from that fire was to go into Mammoth Pool, into the lake. And these National Guard folks just went into an area. They were called off several times. "Don't go, it's too dangerous, it's too smoky." They went anyway. And 7 of them received the Distinguished Flying Cross for their efforts. And they're from Fresno. And we should just be so proud of what they did. I want to assure you all as well that we have a great working relationship between CAL FIRE, all of the county departments. Our emergency evacuation center at Clovis North had over 1,000 people that they processed through there. And when you think about people, that was only one aspect of these evacuations. We also had animals, hundreds, and if not thousands of animals that came out of there. One different thing about this particular fire was that even though we have fires every year, this hit the most populated area of our mountain region that we have. And as you can imagine, if you've been up in our hills, you know, you go past properties and there's a lot of livestock up there. Now, normally you would think horses and cows, of course. We had goats, pigs, we had a lot of those. But we also had rabbits, guinea pigs. We actually had a rattlesnake that a homeowner had at one point that came down. We had a zebra and a camel. So some exotics we ended up having to take care of in the county. And the people stepped up, in the public. People stepped up and donated all kinds of things to help us get it through. In fact, we were overwhelmed with donations. Our sheriff's posse was instrumental in getting animals out of there because this is our volunteer group. They have trailers, they have the feed, they had all kinds of things that we could immediately access to get animals out of that area. One thing that happens in a fire like this, you need to react very, very quickly. Normally, anytime you've dealt with government, you probably find out that the wheels of government move pretty slowly. But in an incident like this, we know we can't wait. We've got to go. We've got to get people out, and we work with county council, but what I've told them before is we need to take action, and then we might ask your advice afterwards. But this is so dynamic and so fast moving that we have to react very, very quickly. And for law enforcement, it can be kind of heartbreaking because our job is to tell people, no, you cannot go there. You can't access the property that you love. And sometimes it's like trying to be the good bad guy. I don't know how else to put it. But one thing we learned is because people were so frustrated when they want to see their property, we started putting chaplains at our checkpoints, which really helped us kind of lower the anxiety of some people. So that has really helped us out. We have so many volunteer resources that I'm very proud of the people that work with us, not only department members, but the people that work with us to help try to make things better. We have a very large chaplaincy program that helps us out. So with that, I'm not sure how much more time I have. I see it's about 1:45. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Sheriff, there's actually several written ones so far. Let me begin with, you talked about the work between the agencies. This is my own question or more comment. The nightly incident reports have been amazing. The working together of the sheriff's departments of the two counties with CAL FIRE to Forest Service, those have been, in my opinion, been so helpful. Not seeing that from a real world view, I'm sure that happens at other fires as well, but just getting to see it here, that's been a really amazing experience. So maybe you can talk about what goes into making those happen, because I'm sure that's just a ton of work in itself.
It is, and every day, twice a day, in fact, we have a county EOC meeting, Emergency Operations Center, every single day. And then there are smaller groups that talk to each other every single day. So communication is so important. And I will tell you, every time we have a large incident like this, we find how we can do things better. Because sometimes there's a breakdown and we just are continuously trying to make things better. Public Works, Fresno County Public Works has been amazing. As Caltrans, as you can imagine, we had guardrails actually melt. They've got to go up on those state highways and fix the guardrails before we start letting people go back up. Delfino Nera's shop with Department of Social Services, amazing. They handled the evacuation center. Duan Utek with the Department of Behavioral Health is important. As you can imagine, this is very, very stressful on many people. Many have lost their primary residence. So we need that behavioral health help as well. Dave Palmaville with the Department of Public Health has been a Superman during this, because he's also trying to handle the COVID issue. So it just takes everybody working together.
And I'm going to skip all the many thank yous that I have in the comments here, but there's a ton of thank yous there, Sheriff. But I think I don't believe it's been released at this point, but there is a question about, has the cause been determined?
The cause has not been determined. What I have is that it was not weather related. There was no lightning strikes that Friday evening when this started. We do have information. There was some activity down in that area that are possibilities. Not ready to reveal what that activity was at this point. It started in the Big Creek area, but it looks like we can eliminate weather-related issues.
Got it. Yeah, and a great question here. You mentioned all the assistance and help from the community. There is a question about, is there anything else that you do need from the community?
Well, at this point, I will refer everybody to not only the Sheriff's Office website, it's www.fresnosheriff, all one word, .org, O-R-G, and click on the Creek Fire icon. And you can also go to the Fresno County website. So just Google Fresno County Home, and it'll pop up, and there's also a Creek Fire icon that you can click on. I think for animals, we have everything we need. What the Red Cross needs is cash donations, as well as our animal rescue efforts need cash donations so that they can, sometimes we can't anticipate what every need is, but if they have an account, a bank account where they can go out and purchase as the need arises, that helps them the most.
Yeah, no, great points. Another question, the fires combined with the overall economic situation, how is your department's finances being affected?
Well, we are able to track all of our time. So once we get a designation of a federal emergency area where we could be eligible for reimbursement for all of our costs. Our budget was just signed last week. Fresno County had their budget hearings. It's pretty much a status quo budget for us. We're not hiring any extra people. We're maintaining. But these kinds of things come up. There was a lot of overtime that we're spent. We're going to be okay on our budget. And of course, we are hoping and probably will be able to get reimbursed for a lot of our costs through the federal government as a disaster.
Great. You mentioned the rollout specifically beginning with the folks that have had the substantial loss of their homes and everything else. I'm assuming when it comes to Shaver and Huntington Lake, there's no schedule available at this time, but there is obviously direction trying to get to that way.
Absolutely. So remember, we're first going to open it up temporarily. We'll be taking people in and then bringing them out of those who have lost their structures. And then as we open it up, it's going to be very organized, where we release as you go up the hill, because we don't want people going to places where they don't belong. We're going to make it very organized, very structured. We're going to ask people, for instance, bring your driver's license that has your residence, bring your property tax bill that has the address on it, because we don't want anyone having access to anybody's homes that don't belong there. We've been very, very fortunate. I will tell you also, we've had no reported burglaries yet. As we repopulate, we're hoping that we don't get any burglaries, but encouraging people, if this happened to you, if you've had a theft, to please call us, because we need to know what was impacted. We did have contact with people up there that did not evacuate. Remember, we cannot force people to leave. If you're an adult and can make decisions on your own and you say, I'm going to stay, we can't forcibly remove you. We can take people out that are infirm, that can't make judgments on their own, and children. But we had people up there that didn't evacuate, and some of them, I call them, were yahoos that could cause problems up there, and we kept an eye on them. So we're hoping that nobody suffered any loss, but we need to know about it if that does happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, appreciate that. And I will just say, I mean, obviously, as a person who has a home up in Shaver, extraordinarily appreciative of all the deputies that have been up there patrolling the neighborhoods, because as soon as I saw the electricity come on, I mean, it's almost like clockwork. You can see the deputies going around going around our loop with my cameras pointed towards the road there, and they've just been doing amazing, making sure that there's not people where they're not supposed to be. And so we're really appreciative of that. And one of the things I was going to mention, Sheriff, is we obviously heard about the damage to the sewer water treatment plant. There's not been a lot of information released on that, but obviously that's going to dictate as a huge population center up in Shaver is going to be affected by how long that takes to fix.
And I understand it was an emergency generator problem. So I think that they're going to be able to get that fixed. And you mentioned, law enforcement presence. It wasn't only the sheriff's office. I have to get this in. We had police agencies from all over Fresno County helping us. So it was not unusual for you to see Fresno Police Department, Clovis Police Department, Kerman, Sanger, Selma. They all came when we asked. And so you were provided that safety from many, many different agencies in Fresno County. I'm really proud of everybody that stepped up. Again, it's all about relationship, and when we need each other, we're going to be there.
And one thing I secretly kind of laugh about is obviously up in Shaver, there's probably a little bit more identity with the neighborhoods than we maybe have here on the valley floor. And a lot of those local policing departments kind of took pride in their specific neighborhood they were protecting. So there was a lot of coolness in that. That was kind of neat to see, because I know Clovis would have somewhere, Fresno PD would have somewhere else. And that was neat to see that the pride they were taking in trying to help however they could during that, especially that first week.
I think also it helped because it really opened their eyes about sheriff's deputies and the areas they've got to cover. Can you imagine being from a metropolitan police department and having to go down into Jose Basin or up to Huntington Lake and some of these really remote areas that they're not used to policing or seeing? And I hope there's a better appreciation of the job that deputy sheriffs have.
Without a doubt. Well, Sheriff, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been, I mean, obviously the timing was just perfect as far as, I obviously would prefer the creek fire not to happen, but the fact that it did happen, having you here today and giving an update on that was so extraordinarily helpful for so many people that are on this call that are actually affected by it.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And again, thank you for all your community efforts. When you called that day and made that offer for the meals, it was just awesome. Just very, very awesome. So thank you to your Rotary Club for all you do for all of us.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Sheriff Mims. And we'll give a virtual clap, I guess, right now. Everybody is clapping. It's a little hard to hear it, obviously, with everybody on mute, but we appreciate all you do and all your deputies, what they've done, not only for the Creek Fire, but what they do 24/7, 365 days a year.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Next Monday, you all can join us back for my friend, Mr. John Alkire, who is now the former CEO of the Big Fresno Fair, but obviously has only moved his hat over to a different rack. He's now in charge of the foundation at the Big Fresno Fair. He's going to be here talking about the what the Big Fresno Fair is going to look like this year, and most importantly, what they're looking towards the future with. So join us next week for John Alkire. I also want to mention that I put it up late. I apologize for that. We have a fun little poll there. So if you go to the bottom of your screen and you hit the poll, make sure you answer that, because we're going to go into that very shortly. You have about 1 to 2 minutes to get a hold of Anna if you do want to get some tickets for today's drawing. And I'm going to now hand it over to Mr. Dick Harrington, who has a quick recognition for us today.
Thank you, Ryan. Mike Machisi, are you there? Can you unmute yourself?
I am unmuted.
Good. I understand you got some news about this year's popcorn drive. Can you fill us in on that?
Sure will. Well, first off, President Ryan, fellow Rotarians and guests, Ryan, would you ring the bell twice for me? One for Camp Chawanakee, which has been spared so far from the campfire, thanks to the sheriff and CAL FIRE and so many other agencies. So we're really grateful for that. But also because it's popcorn time, annually Fresno Rotarians buy popcorn, not just for our families, but maybe for your employees. That seems to happen quite a bit as well. So thank you for buying popcorn. This year, we're going to add a little special twist to it in the spirit of being helpful, friendly, courteous, and kind. We want to salute our local hometown American heroes. So you'll see somebody's put up on the screen, Anna or Ryan, there's the ability to purchase popcorn. You can go to our website, but also go to your newsletter. Anna sent out the newsletter earlier, and you see right here where it says click here to purchase. Just click on that and you can buy popcorn for our hometown heroes. The sheriff's deputy, Cousin Tim, a lot of good prospects out there that have been identified even today. But when you go online, you can buy for yourself, but also click, there's 3 different areas where you can click American Heroes. And what we do is we buy popcorn for our local law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, and other agencies that have really helped us out quite a bit. And there's some really touching stories out there. I was visiting with Anna Pine, and she said that in Auberry, some of the firefighters in Auberry actually lost their own homes while doing their duty and their jobs to protect residences and other properties. So we want to salute those folks and everybody. There's so many people that have been involved with this campfire. And so here's your chance. You can go down, see right there where there's 3 $50, $100, and $250 American Heroes donation. And that's what you click on, add that to your cart, and we will deliver the popcorn, this tasty Trails End popcorn to those recipients. So we're excited about that. We teach scouts when we meet to do a good turn daily. And that's part of the slogan of the Boy Scouts of America. So we want to honor all those people who are really putting it out there and doing a great job protecting our communities, our families, and now more than ever, we need to say thank you, because it's been an extraordinary year in 2020. And so scouting is affording folks an opportunity to do that. So that's it. Back to you.
Mike, thank you very much. That's a terrific idea, and I hope everybody here participates in that, and everybody who gets our newsletter does the same. Thanks very much for thinking of that idea. That's terrific.
Thank you, Dick, and appreciate it, Mike, so much for all you guys, what you're doing. And obviously been a very tumultuous year, tumultuous summer. You guys lost the summer for the Boy Scouts camp, but nevertheless, the fact that it's still standing is something that's a victory for 2020. We'll take what we can get there. So we do thank you. So many of you actually filled out our poll, our fun polls that we've been trying to do. And shockingly, my gosh, most of you aren't in pajamas today. Great thing to hear. Maybe now that we're 6 months into the pandemic, it's a little better thing not to be in pajamas. But nevertheless, for the 3 of you that are having fun with pajamas, oh my gosh, God bless you. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. So, and with that, we now have the time that we love to do. It's our drawing time. Miss Anna, you have the big winner ticket there. Any last, I should ask, I'm asking last time, any shout outs for Anna that she needs to throw too many more tickets in? With that said, Anna, it's drawing time.
Well, thank you to the Fresno County Farm Bureau for donating the wine today. And thank you to all of the people who purchased. And today's winner is Desiree Van Putten. She's about to join as a member, so welcome.
That's a good way to get somebody to join, right? Good job. Congrats, Desiree. And with that, we're going to have one next week too, right? So for those of you interested in next week, please make sure that you let Anna know. We'll be sending it out probably midweek, and you can sign up for our silent auction, for our drawing there. And with that said, all of our business for today is concluded. Look forward to seeing you next Monday. Meeting adjourned.